Did you really think that Bonnie and Clyde, the messiest people in Harlem, would get away with creating a whole baby just to keep their wallets full and their names popular? Oh, please, shut off all notifications because what I'm about to reveal is so ghastly, embarrassing, and disgustingly appropriate for these two. Even the most petty parts of Twitter can't spin this controversy, saying things like sweet baby lies into a burner phone, while Cam'ron, Mr. Pink Mink himself, stands 3 feet back. Imagine waking up to leaked footage of Chrissy and the self-proclaimed ride-or-die queen. Fake tears, fake doctor's papers, double check. Secret cash drops behind cheap hotel doors, baby checkmate, and the puppet master behind this evil soap opera are all part of the plot. How deep does this rabbit hole really go? How many sponsorships, reunion deals, and fictitious charity checks did the world celebrated their unfulfilled pregnancy while to cash in? But the worst part is that the receipts are leaking out one by one. Trust me, by the end of today, you won't ever look at Brace Up again because this expose could blow up the internet twice before lunch. So let's remove the dirty layers of the circus. Believe me, the so-called power couple of Harlem didn't make a mistake overnight. Instead, this nefarious masterpiece took years to develop, disguised by reality show tears, fake engagement rings, and Instagram comments so phony that they could con a ghost. Let's go back to the heyday when Chrissy was a while Cam'ron strutted around like a pink foreign morning. Lannon proclaimed herself the first lady of Harlem. Jim Jones, bless his loyal foolish heart, believed he had the last intact brotherhood in Harlem. But beneath all that Dipset nostalgia were snake pits, hush money, and a fake baby tummy that would when VH1's reunion specials started to lose viewers. In 2017, Chrissy Lannon realized her cry-and cue skills were becoming less valuable, and Cam'ron realized his solo buzz was locked in 2005 nostalgia and a half-baked show. Even Scott Young ponders whether this was too scandalous for cable TV posters. But what's two hustlers with dusty limelight to easily create a new mess and join the false baby scheme insiders? By insiders, I mean Chrissy's former nail technician, who couldn't keep her mouth shut until Cam'ron heard the first pregnant whisper during a dubious brunch at Harlem Tavern. "If you sell it right, we all eat good from that brunch," she said, leaning over her champagne and tapping Cam'ron to ice her watch. "What if the world thinks I'm pregnant again?" Cam'ron didn't even flinch as he took out his second phone, not the public one on the burner. On Baby, Chrissy Layman made peace with reality show producers who vowed never to collaborate with him again, following the 2011 outburst backstage, and Jim Jones, poor dumb Jim Jones, continued to believe every "I love you" statement. She also former business sponsors on Instagram. She texted her father at 2 a.m. in the spring of 2022. While covertly negotiating hush money for questionable ultrasound billing, a suspicious bump appeared in Chrissy's photo. Fan pages claimed that she was beaming, and the barbershops in Harlem grumbled that she was being milked by Cam'ron. Every bit of influence he had by releasing teasers, rather than making predictions about giving the crew new life, dangling mysterious Instagram stories with baby symbols, and making crude jabs at Jim Jones by claiming that a sincere man acknowledges his shortcomings and nurtures his seeds at work. Sponsorship offers were scuttling out of every corner. Baby, one source revealed that Chrissy Lamb received a 5-figure agreement from a major vitamin company for a pregnant health journey video on YouTube. Little did they know that the only thing growing was her financial equilibrium, not her womb. And this is where it gets. A traveling OB-GYN from Jersey who allegedly had her license revoked in 2018 for falsified medical records was on Cam'ron's private risk, and these two were not content to just act the part. They made sure the deceit appeared genuine. Before any suspicious PR agency could ask, receipts were generated on a disposable laptop, kept on an encrypted USB, and sent to Chrissy Lampkin. At the time, Cam'ron was sitting in a hookah lounge 2 streets away, laughing with his inner group. Harlem is still naive enough to buy anything if you sprinkle CMF. Cam'ron's nervousness hadn't prevented him from fixing the maintenance woman at that famous Midtown hotel room when a housekeeper noticed an oddly flat pregnant belly band thrown in the trash. He might have remained buried as well. Reality TV tears on it are cruel but not unexpected at all. Chrissy Lampkin's phone blew up with death threats from Dipset stans, not congratulatory DMS, when she took a picture of 3 unopened prenatal medicine bottles and DM'd it to a Harlem gossip writer desperate for hits. The pregnancy hoax was exposed within hours. Killing his brother for influence money caused Chrissy's lawyer to ignore her. And even Mona Scott Young, the host of Give Me the Mess, I'll Spin It, didn't return her calls. But wait, things get spicy because the leak was just the appetizer. The main course was bank statements that were made public by an anonymous whistleblower. Possibly because OOF fans did what fans do best by connecting every joke and every mistake. Exposing the short-lived podcast endeavors, dissatisfied intern from Cam'ron, digital files, and site photographs showing hush money, phony pregnancy invoices, and hotel room bookings under fictitious LLC names like Mommy Empire Consulting. LLC. Entire scam into next week's TikTok detectives match dates Chrissy's supposed due date to her club appearances, where she appeared to have abs by midnight but had a bump by morning, caused Twitter to go crazy all night. Did Jim Jones Cam'ron turn out to be a snake since Dipset's debut mixtape, when Jim Jones attempted to play damage control and post a prayer hands emoji on Instagram? More screenshots appeared, this time from Chrissy's cousin's stolen iCloud private voice notes, burner phone recordings. But this was the end of the leak. Fasten your seatbelt because Harlem's messiest soap opera was far from over. Harlem knew that Cam'ron was guilty of sin, or planning the next chess move because of a suspicious contract with a dubious public relations firm that ensured the widespread rollout of pregnant news while he disappeared. There was no cryptic live, no freestyle dispute, and not even a single petty tweet. However, the paparazzi couldn't hide the fact that they saw her leaving a nail salon without a bump number ring and without any idea how to turn this PR disaster into new revenue. The real slap is that sponsors began vying for the brand's business as soon as the vitamin company refunded the pregnancy photo studio lawsuit threat. One brand even made the internet crashed again after a scathing tweet that said, "We do not condone false babies." So, take a deep breath because if you think this scam ended when it revealed hotel prohibitions and dubious bills, you're charmingly wrong. This baby bombshell wasn't just about Cloud Butte. Federal audit was prompted by the ticking time bomb that destroyed Harlem's last hope. And just when you thought the rumors about Harlem would finally stop, think again. Dropped Next not only brought Cam'ron back into the picture, but also a few old acquaintances. Limelight they claim to have left behind, but stay with me, part 2 is going to take this problem to its core. And trust me when I say that by the end, you'll wish this was just bad reality TV. If you thought the barbershop rumors and Twitter jokes were enough to put an end to the scam, you wouldn't believe it. Here's how things got out of hand 2 days after the receipts that were leaking out of Harlem didn't just drag Chrissy Lampkin and Cam'ron. They flipped a switch that turned the dusty backstage secrets of Harlem into a federal sideshow that no one, not even Mona Scott with her strict non-disclosure agreements, could sweep under the reunion rug. A rogue whistleblower posted a 6-month viral motherhood narrative arc was planned by public relations managers. One bullet point listed the following phases. Phase 1, public reveal. Phase 2, fake ultrasound leak. Phase 3, paparazzi bump sighting. Phase 4, brand deals obtained. And Phase 5, strategic miscarriage narrative for sympathy and reunion theme. When Harlem heard about the bullet point, the internet split in two. One side demanded that Chrissy Lampkin be banned from every network that had ever given her and the pregnancy, while the other side planned to fake sadness as well. So fans would queue up with tissue boxes and hashtags pleading with VH1 to release a special reunion. In the meantime, Jim Jones, who positioned himself as Harlem's last devoted monarch, went nuclear, removing the prayer hands and the motivational quotes and pulling up his own receipts. The other side cried that Cam'ron was the puppet master, the evil genius who forced Harlem's queen to sell her last shred of dignity for crumbs of power. You ever love somebody so deeply that you let him ruin you twice? You're laughing at me, but I was playing father to Alicia and Cam'ron cooked behind my back. He said over 200,000 people on Instagram, live while sitting in a dimly lit studio room and shivering. As the chronology broke down, TikTok editors mixed clips of Jim Jones crying with old dipping set videos leaking, and fans flooded the forum with comments such, "Keep strong, King, you deserve better. Cam'ron needs to pay for this treason." Millions in a never-ending cycle of nostalgia and embarrassment. But Harlem's messy DNA never ends with melancholy. When the money trail heats up, it turns to criminality because, in addition to that PR file, the whistleblower released incomplete bank ledgers that led even tax agents to perk up Zelle transactions, concealed behind fictitious PayPal invoices from a catering business titled Pregnant Health Consultancy and bundles of $2,500 wire transfers connected to an LLC. Called Harlem's events for the FBI and IRS were a breadcrumb trail with extra cheese by morning. Federal investigators swiftly demanded a sit-down. Collapsed. And according to rumors, Homeland Security broke into an old Cam'ron studio in Queens at around 500 a.m. I'm trying to find backup discs. A gossip blogger even posted a blurry picture of a dark SUV outside Chrissy's cousin's condo, claiming that the federal agents were questioning no freestyle clapback, no shady bar on Instagram, no petty tweet with weeping laugh emojis, just radio silence from her relative for hush money receipts. While the street chanted Rico and racketeering Cam'ron. Cam'ron is scarier than any diss track because everyone in Harlem knows when, while Chrissy Lampkin, the former reality TV ride-or-die queen, was left to die alone. Cam'ron remained silent while he was preparing something poisonous. The paparazzi caught her twice in 2 days, once sneaking into a lawyer's Midtown office while wearing sunglasses bigger than her dignity and crying while driving a rented black Escalade outside of a pregnant company. She allegedly tricked firms into giving away free baby bump props. Instead of waiting for an apology, the vitamin sponsor left her for a high-end baby clothes shop, and she teased her on Instagram with a cruel pinned comment that said, "We only outfit true miracles. We hope Miss Lampkin recovers." And reflection. Not to mention the beauty salons filled with vintage heads clucking their tongues. I told you that Chrissy Lampkin was trouble when she made Jim Jones get that lip tattoo rather than a real wedding. True vintage Harlem, but here's the twist, unexpectedly. A new character emerged from anonymous Reddit leaks, claiming that the unknown person, a shady former boss named Reggie, was the one who alerted the intern to expose everything. Reggie allegedly harbored resentment towards the he went full whistleblower, sending the intern screenshots, feeding bloggers hush audio, and allegedly even selling a voice memo to a podcast for 4 figures after learning that Cam'ron was using hush money on a fake baby scheme while still owed him money. The man was the size of Harlem blocks and an infant. When that audio message hit the timeline, everyone's jaws fell from Harlem to Brooklyn, including Mona Scott Young, the renowned ringmaster of TV Ratchet Circus, as Cam yelled on the phone, urging Chrissy Lampkin to keep crying and move merchandise guy. We earn more when they believe she is upset. While the puppet master's receipts bounced from blog to blog, Reunions had to issue a dry PR statement stating that Miss Lampkin is not currently contracted with any of our performances. We have no comment on these allegations. Translation girl, you cannot even turn this catastrophe back onto our reunion sofa. One promoter of the anniversary tour published a text exchange in which Cam'ron allegedly requested a $50,000 advance. Believing that the IR over the baby scam would soon fade, Cam'ron lost to mid-tier alcohol sponsorships overnight, and his name was secretly taken off a purported die-pet. Reggie himself released a screen grab of a private group chat to a YouTube blogger, but sadly, it didn't, and the most heinous leak. 2 dates showed that Cam'ron, Chrissy Lampkin, and AP Rixer were debating which gossip blogs they would pay to remove any negative headlines if the fake baby story became too ensure that Jim Jones wouldn't find out until the bad guys were gone. 2. Hot included a petty note. Guess what? Not only did Jim Jones find out, but the entire freaking world did too. Die-Pet's once unbreakable brotherhood looked like a trash dump in Harlem. With torn contracts and ruined friendships, Cam'ron and Chrissy Lampkin were both worried about if hush money was properly declared and where Jim Jones was in all of this. Still hurting and distraught, after federal snitches and sponsorships yelled that it wasn't just Instagram memes anymore. A reported federal tax probe also had them both worried. If you believe this clown act, a few sly excerpts of raw savage bars without any features, just Cam'ron, Chrissy Lampkin, and every fake baby prop from Midtown to Miami have leaked on Twitter. Faithful King hit the studio, and there are rumors that a new disc of the album that was faked and betrayed is on the way, ends with PR apologies and legal bills. But wait a minute, according to Puppet Master Whisper Network, a final hush agreement, signed by Cam'ron and Chrissy L reveals the exact amount of fake baby money that was transferred behind Jim's back and how it was laundered. The streets are drooling for the final receipts, Part 3, and Homeland Security is already sniffing around it. If that document makes it to the blogs, it will not only destroy Die-Pet's last legacy, but it may also bring down a few big-name sponsors. Since even the rats in the gutter will feel awful for Jim Jones when the quiet file drops, Harlem has been in dire need of a dagger. Stay tuned, you won't want to blink, because Part 3 is where we burn everyone. If you've made it this far without holding your imagined pearls, get ready for the next chapter of this fictional baby. Savage Block's oldest original members are avoiding cameras because disaster doesn't just put a nail in Dipset's ancient coffin, it sends the entire Harlem rumor ecosystem into a storm. Remember that hush file? Yes, the so-called smoking gun Reggie eluded to the streets for weeks. And just a week after Jim's tragic outburst, people had a copy Reggie and a dubious industry lawyer who used to manage Cam'ron's side deals when his financial troubles made headlines 10 years ago. But Harlem forgot that secrets cannot stay in jail when everyone's allegiance is on layaway. A single anonymous Google Drive link was posted in the comments sections of every article that even mentioned Chrissy Cam'ron or fake children. And within an hour, the link was trending. This was the hush file that was leaked from Reggie's group chat. There was no significant tabloid drop or podcast exclusive. There were goldmine contracts, signed NDAs, wire instructions, and a grainy PDF marked Final Split Agreement in large red letters within that folder. It detailed how the so-called baby narrative income would be split between the gossip PR fixer and Chrissy and Cam'ron, a dubious OB-GYN who sold the story to marketers and added a side note to the same file, essentially blazing through Jim Jones' screen until the very last moment. After all sponsor payments were made, Harlem lost its TikTok investigators, who took screenshots of every page and provided real-time breakdowns, splicing savage memes with ancient recordings of Jim Jones kissing Chrissy's stomach on stage now, tagged with crying emojis and clown faces. The entire world gasped, laughed, and shared the messiest group discussions until it spread like a digital wildfire that no lawyer could put out. And if the hush file itself, if that weren't terrible enough, Harlem's favorite mother-in-law, Mama Jones, decided to take the last bit of family laundry outside. A hungry blogger caught her in the middle of her tirade outside her favorite hair salon, without any filters or excuses, and she yelled out the words Harlem had been waiting for. She said she requested Jim Jones to open his eyes years ago, knowing Chrissy was poison. His parents reacted faster than any PR statement, and now he's disgrace and heartache, and his lawyer bill is so high that even Cam'ron can't pretend it doesn't exist. He might even make baby vitamin bars with dead-branded pregnancy pictures. Stopped when a designer store made harsh demands for a refund, and she put on her tails, threatening to sue for brand damage from her involvement with a fake tail. It was all falling apart, dollar by dollar, and Cam'ron did what only he knows how to do. He didn't hide behind a legal statement or publish a tearful letter. He sipped from a crimson cup and laughed as he named himself Harlem's favorite villain. He jumped on a live hoodie halfway off the chain and danced on his chest, saying, "Loyalty is dead, and he is the only one who is honest enough to acknowledge he murdered it himself." Clowns, snakes, and other emojis were all over the comment area, but half of the audience continued to yell because Harlem likes a villain who says things that everyone else is too phony to say. Jim Jones chose to do what he usually does best rather than perform another shoddy show. 3 days after he entered the booth, an unedited freestyle surfaced on SoundCloud, with Jim's voice cracking as he spat out line after line about treachery and fake tears. By midnight, fans flocked to every Harlem neighborhood, blasting the song from car speakers like a funeral for all that Dipset ever stood for. But the internet didn't stop for long, because after mourning and clown jokes, the feds revealed that Homeland Security had discovered suspicious funds connected to the phony charity foundation that Cam'ron and Chrissy had touted during the bump plot. The fraud-bearer shop started making jokes that the upcoming Dipset reunion special wouldn't air on VH1, since it turns out that their so-called Mom's Foundation did not assist needy parents at all, but instead channeled brand money back to them behind phony business invoices. This is no longer influencer drama. The humor ruined the grief in a federal courtroom because, deep down, Harlem knows that this was about a family that once stood as the last group to show their unadulterated loyalty on stage. The receipts showed that they would sell each other out for a messy payoff and a popular hashtag. But just when everyone thought the leaks were over, one name appeared like a ghost from an old mixtape credits: Lil Moo, an elderly die-pet errand child who carried Cam's duffel bags back when flip phones were popular. He made a comeback in a janky YouTube video. Jim Jones was waiting in the adjacent room, thinking he had finally locked down his forever queen for good files and cryptic tweets suggesting he would sell them to the highest bidder or worse, when he claimed to have backup discs with unpublished voice notes of Cam'ron laughing with Chrissy about baby check, PAYDAYS. In the midst of all this chaos, Mona Scott Young was nowhere to be seen. A ghost. No announcements, no shady reunions, just a rumor that she's imprisoned abroad. They sent them to Homeland Security as further evidence that the money ran out. It was Harlem's ultimate depressing joke, and even the rats had receipts in the city. Even the queen of marketed reality drama couldn't turn this garbage into a nice episode narrative. And what about the fans who stuck with Jim Jones out of sympathy, watching his freestyle as if every bar could sew his broken heart? She paid her crisis PR staff quadruple charges to spin everything aside from her name while on vacation. In the end, the others just stepped back, removing the Dipset logo from their profile pictures and shaking their heads at every new development. Some doubled down on Cam'ron by calling him the realest snake Harlem ever spawned. Fierce but honest. The ultimate dagger that demonstrated how phony loyalty always was. Federal agents whispered to interested bloggers that grand juries were being prepared in case any more fraudulent charity checks appeared, while the first hush money attorney's letters were pinged in boxes like vultures, indicating that true brotherhood had died. Reggie the puppet master happily fed. All of these leaks disappeared back into the shadows, probably with the exception of Quiet Jim's final post before going viral on social media, which said, in a black square with no caption and only 3 words written in tiny white letters, "Loyalty ain't genuine." Responses rushed in by the "There are hundreds of people who are consoling him, and others who are making fun of him for ignoring the warning signs, but the truth is that the dream was dead. It was just paperwork and performance." And some people believe that Cam'ron still has more secrets hidden away that he could reveal on an unidentified mixtape. If Lil Moo flips that hard drive for his own 15 minutes, one thing is certain: Harlem will never forget the baby bulge that never happened. Others believe that Chrissy's lawyer will demand payment from all the companies that are currently acting foolishly about ever working with her. It was never about a baby. Rather, it was about money, ego, and a lesson written in block letters on the sidewalks of Harlem. Trust no one. And when the cameras stop rolling, spill one out for the fairy tale that crashed. Was it the deceit that turned street monarchs into cautionary tales, or the shady treachery that dragged even this? Do you have it, family? Every filthy receipt, every snake move, and every fake tear these so-called Harlem royals thought they could sweep beneath your feet will be destroyed. And because that was the last voicemail, this cemetery